Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Sharon H. Porter, and this is the Grind Entrepreneur Network Spotlight. And I tell you, we have such a wonderful guest with us today. She is none other than Dr. Tracey Brown, also known as Dr. Tracey. She is president and CEO of TRBZ Enterprises. She is also the host of the Dr. Tracey Show. Dr. Tracey holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology from the University of North Texas, a Master of Arts degree in counseling, and certification in a professional school counseling from Dallas Baptist University, and a PhD in psychology from Walden University. Dr. Tracey has served in the field of counseling education for more than 20 years. Dr. Tracey, welcome to the Grind Entrepreneur Network Spotlight.
Well, thank you for having me, Dr. Sharon.
Absolutely. I am truly excited that you are here. I'm glad to connect with you. And I tell you, I did share quite a bit of information about you, but I want to give you an opportunity to share a little more about who Dr. Tracey really is.
Oh, well, thank you again for having me, Dr. Sharon. I am so delighted and feel eternally blessed to be here. Basically, I have a background in counseling and education. I've been in the field of education for about 24 years as a school teacher, school counselor, counselor administrator, and now I work as a psychotherapist for our district here. And so I have an extensive background in counseling and education. And I just love to help people realize their potentials in life, overcome obstacles in life, and just be able to enjoy, their life and love and relationships. And as we say on the Dr. Tracey Show, we celebrate life, love, and relationships. So that's in essence, in a nutshell, who I am and what I love to do.
I love that. And so we're going to first dive into TRBZ Enterprises. Talk to us a little bit about what that is and how did that even start?
Well, TRBZ Enterprises derived from, first of all, from me being an author. I wrote Single Mom PhD back in 2016 and, 2014. And that was kind of born out of my experience as a single mom. And I just wanted to tell my story in terms of how I overcame a lot of obstacles to be able to, yes, I was a single mom, but just push through that and kind of overcome some of the trials and tribulations going there and, be able to earn my PhD in the process. And I just want to encourage single moms through that book. To, not give up. Don't think everything's, you're down and out. There's still an opportunity for you to grow and to be successful in life. So TRBZ Enterprises was kind of born out of that. And then I went on to publish another book, Ebb and Flow. I published that in 2016. And that is moving forward. It's about overcoming obstacles as well, in terms of emotional distress. And it's a 21-day meditational guide that kind of walks you through, how to overcome emotional distress in relationships. And so was kind of the start of TRBZ Enterprises. And then we moved on to create the show. And from that, we work hand in hand and collaborate with various sponsors for the show and so forth. I also am getting prepared to start a private practice in about a year or so. So that also will fall under TRBZ Enterprises. So we have a lot going on.
But I love that. I am an educator as well, and I love my edupreneurs. I often say every time I interview an educator that we have so many talents. We are so multi-skilled that we really can do almost anything. And so I encourage educators to go find your passion. Yes, we are passionate about the schoolhouse. We love our field of education, but I know that there are other things that educators would like to do. And I encourage them to step out and do them, even as you're in that educational role. And so I applaud you for that.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So now let's talk about the Dr. Tracey Show, because I have a live in-studio show as well, and I love your show. And one thing that I pride myself is connecting with other talk show hosts, because we are so busy interviewing other people that we oftentimes do not actually get to sit on the other end of that.
I know, it's kind of weird sitting on the other side of the chair, you know.
Exactly. And so I make it my business to connect with other media colleagues, just to hear your story. We do a fantastic job shining light on others. And so I just want this opportunity for you to be in the spotlight. So let's talk about the Dr. Tracey Show. And your last interview, I think it was your last one, you actually had Adrian Hamilton on it. Oh my God. So you've got to tell me, first of all, about that interview, and then just tell me in general about your show.
Oh my goodness. So here and again, you know, my pastor, he inspires me. Okay. And one thing he says, I do one thing, I just do it in a whole, you know, a lot of different venues and avenues. And that's kind of how I feel. I feel like the Dr. Tracey Show is still kind of my counseling therapy room, if you will. And it's an opportunity for people to come on the show to just talk about their passions. This season, we're going to be featuring, you know, people that have been in the foster care system, that have gone through extreme challenges in life, and they're on to tell their story. And so what I'm trying to do with the show is put in front of our audience people that can connect with other people out there that have gone through, you know, struggles, gone through trials and tribulations in life. And hopefully they can be inspired by someone that they see on the show that shares their same experience. And if they see that this person is on the show and they made it, hopefully they'll get inspired to just continue on and understand that they can make it too. In terms of Adrian Hamilton, everybody knows that I am a sports fanatic, okay? I always tell people in high school, you know, had they let me play high school football, I would have played football, but they didn't, so I had to become a cheerleader instead. That's as close as I could get to the field. But I love sports. But I had Adrian Hamilton on because, of course, the sports reason, but also we spoke to the political side of it and the things that are going on in the NFL. And he was able to just kind of talk about his views in terms of, you know, what's happening in the NFL with regard to the protests and, you know, what's in the minds of the players, you know, what is it that they have a heart for and have a passion for, and what is their challenge? Because yes, they were hired to be, you know, on the field playing football, but they're also people, and they are American citizens that have loved ones that have been affected by the things that are going on in our society, and they want to have a voice. And so Adrian shares his views, and you can go to my website and watch it at drtracybrown.com. And he does an amazing job. We featured him 2 weeks in a row just to give him time to share his viewpoints and so forth. So
I love that. And you are actually in your third season of the show.
Yes, we are.
So that definitely. So I would love to know, and just because my live show is actually, this is the first year for it. Okay. So just in terms of doing this thing for 3 years now, what are some of the challenges that you faced earlier in that process that now, you know, you are selling through rather freely now after 3 years of doing it?
Yeah, you know, I think, gosh, you know, being a talk show host, it's wonderful and glamorous, but there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. And one of the things I feel that has helped the show be as successful as it has been is that I have a dynamic team. You know, I'm the face of the show, but I tell you what, I am so like, you know, I'm just one of the many of us that is working together to put the show together. So we have our director, we have social media professionals, we have videographers, we have audiographers, we have our guest relations person that actually pulls everyone together. And gosh, it takes leadership. It takes a lot of leadership skills, and it takes a team mentality. No one job is more important than the other. And so my job as the leader of the team is to make sure that we have good communication, to make sure everyone feels appreciated, and just to make sure that the vision is going forward. I often find myself kind of making sure I'm self-checking all the time. And first of all, asking myself, why am I doing this? And making sure I stay connected with my why. Because if I lose that, Dr. Sharon, what's the purpose in doing the show? So
Absolutely.
my why is always my audience. What do I want to make sure that my audience gets from our efforts? And so that's the goal, and I'm a believer, and I know that I have a purpose in this life. And I feel that God has called me to do this work. And I take it very seriously. This is not just, pop on the screen and it's a live stream show, although I love live stream shows. But it's a calling. And I take it very seriously. And I just try to make sure that I'm always plugged in to ensure that our purpose is going forward. And the feedback we get lets me know that we're hitting the mark. So in essence, that's kind of where we are.
Absolutely. And so I've worked with emerging and aspiring entrepreneurs. What advice would you give them? Because as you said, you're getting ready to step out in about a year.
Yeah.
With a private practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that stems from your professional background.
Yes.
What would you say, and actually specifically to my edupreneurs, my educators who are wanting to step out to do something, what would be your advice to them?
Oh, goodness. Okay. So first I would say that understand what your passion is. Okay. Know what it is. Your passion, obviously, if you're a teacher or somewhere in the education field, obviously your passion is education. And so understand that passion, but also don't limit yourself. Just because you're a teacher, just because you're a principal or, an administrator or what have you, does not mean that you have to limit yourself to that. You can be an educator, and with your free time, you get to do whatever it is you desire to do. So in your free time, if you have such a thing, it's okay to branch out there. I have friends that are teachers, but that also have they have a bow tie service, or they sell candles and scents and things like that. And so you can do both. I remember one time I was working as a counseling administrator, and I was torn. I wanted to step off and go ahead and do the show full time, work with my sponsors and that kind of thing. But I knew from a financial standpoint, I couldn't quite do that yet. And so it just hit me one day. I was on the elevator and I was struggling within, and something hit me and said, why not do it all? What is hindering you from doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, And some people think that you have to just stop everything and go for just that one thing you want to do, when there's so many things that you can do. And that's where the team comes from, because then you don't have to do it all by yourself. You have your team members to lean on. Everybody's functioning within their heart, their passion, their calling. And that takes the load and pressure off of you to go ahead and do what it is your passion is calling you to do. So don't limit yourself. If you're a teacher, counselor, administrator, an aide, whatever it is you want to do that part, but also know that you can spread your talents to other areas of your life and be just as successful. And then you work your way to the point where you can do that thing full time, if that's what you desire to do.
Absolutely. You really hit on a lot of great points there. That's one of the things that I emphasize to my edupreneurs is that, yes, you don't have to be a tutor or open a tutoring firm or anything like that. You can make jewelry if that's your talent. Mm-hmm. I have entrepreneurs in my Edupreneurs Rock group that are stand-up comedians that are, it's just it's wide open for you. So I appreciate you saying that. Another thing that you touched on is about the free time. Mm-hmm. What I emphasize for them is you have to establish boundaries. Right. Mm-hmm. And I often say, when you are on your 9 to 5, you are fully on your 9 to 5. But once you are off that, it's time for you now.
Yes. And
so you find that time that you do what works for you. Absolutely. And so I appreciate that, actually. Absolutely. So A final message before we go and before you give all of your contact information. What do you want your viewers to get out of watching each episode of your show?
Oh boy. Okay. So, Dr. Sharon, if you don't mind, I know we're limited on time, but I do want to also emphasize to your last question, I want to emphasize having a business plan because that is important. And if you don't sit down and really think about what you want to do and write it down and come up with your vision and your mission and look at your do your research, your market, look to see who needs your services and so forth. You don't have a plan. You don't have a roadmap to get you to where you're trying to go. So I just wanted to put that in as well. But in terms of the show, again, I just feel like it is another opportunity for people to be healed and for people to be strengthened. And we have a lot of fun too. So for people to have fun and enjoy the show, but it is an avenue that when you watch the show, I want people to say, you know what, Dr. Tracey's doing that. Guess what? I can do my thing too. And that's what I want people to see is that, again, taking the limitations off and going out there, doing what your heart desires to do. I want people to see my heart through my guests on the show. It's not about me. It's about these people that I put on the show that are absolutely amazing. I mean, their stories are they minister to me. When I get off set, Dr. Sharon, I just feel so strengthened and empowered to go and push even harder because I know that God does not take us through these challenges and situations for nothing. God didn't take me through my journey as a single mom just because he wants me to go through things. There's a reason and there is a purpose for our pain. And so when people see my guests on the show, I often ask them to share their story because behind every success is pain and is a challenge. But these people that are on the show are sharing how they overcame that challenge. They're pushing forward and they did not let anyone stop them from doing what God has called them to do. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to preach here, but and I'm not a preacher, by the way.
It's okay, but it's the truth, yes.
But I feel very passionate about this, and I want people to not just sit there and think about things you want to do. Actually, make it happen, and don't feel like everything has to be perfect. Everything doesn't have to be perfect for you to get started. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I would say sit down, think about what you want to do, write it down, write the vision, and it may change over time, but that's okay. At least you have something to kind of guide you. And I tell you what, just go for it. Just go for what you know you have been called to do.
I tell you, it has been such a pleasure. Before we leave, please share all of your contact information. Where can individuals go find your show and how they can connect with you?
Yes, our new shows air every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time at drtraceybrown.com. That's drtraceybrown.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn at Dr. Tracey Brown, just my name, and then Instagram at Dr. Tracey. So any of those avenues, I would love to connect with all of those out there that are interested in connecting. And thank you in advance for watching the show. I appreciate that so much. And thank you, Dr. Sharon, for having me.
Absolutely. It has been a pleasure. Again, guys, my guest today is Dr. Tracey Brown of The Dr. Tracey Show. You can catch her at 8 o'clock. Go to Dr. Tracey Brown to get all the information. So Dr. Tracey, again, I say thank you. This is the Grind Entrepreneur Network Spotlight, where we feature entrepreneurs on their grind. And Dr. Tracey, I say, keep grinding.
Thank you, Dr. Sharon. Thank you for having me.